The Toronto Raptors have been patient and measured with their head coaching search thus far, but when an opportunity like this opens up, Masai Ujiri and the front office simply cannot pass on it, and the search should well and truly be over. Let's get into it. This is Amateur Hour Sports, the YouTube channel dedicated to Toronto Raptors content in videos, live streams, and shorts. If you like what you see from today's video, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel, help me on my road to 15,000 subs, and get notified when all of this great offseason content comes your way. The Toronto Raptors are now one of a number of teams that are in the middle of their head coaching search as the playoffs continue and more teams fall a little bit short, let's say, of expectations. More head coaching roles are opening up for the likes of Nick Nurse to take advantage of, but also more coaches are entering the head coaching pool of possibilities for the Raptors to go and hire. And there's been a couple interesting candidates this week that we certainly need to discuss. We've done a full episode already on Mike Budenholzer and his candidacy for the position if you want to go check that one out. But another new coach that has entered the pool here is Monty Williams of the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns were completely embarrassed in their Game 6 loss to the Denver Nuggets, and it's been back-to-back seasons now for this Phoenix Suns team where they were down by 30 points at halftime of a second-round elimination game. But from a Raptors perspective, looking for a coach and certainly looking for a complete change in culture for this team, there is no better candidate than Monty Williams. Across all the channels that I have here on YouTube, I've been asked and I've spoken about my favorite head coaching candidate for the Toronto Raptors, and the answer to that has always been Jerry Stackhouse. Jerry Stackhouse has been my number one choice. He holds players accountable, he's a very offensively driven coach, he's great for development, and he's been within the Raptors system before, coaching the then D-League Raptors 905 to the championship in 2017. Doing a great job right now with Vanderbilt. It would be great to bring him in as a head coach. He still remains a great candidate. I've also been a fan of Patrick Mutombo, another former Raptors 905 head coach who's had a number of years of experience coaching in the NBA as an assistant with the Raptors, where he was part of the big player development wave that helped the Raptors get to that 2019 championship. He also has a keen eye for scouting, a great developmental mind to have in the head coaching role for this team. He was on Monty Williams' staff for this most recent season. We'll see exactly what his future holds in Phoenix with Monty Williams gone, but the opportunity is here to make Monty Williams the next head coach of the Toronto Raptors. As much as I still like Jerry Stackhouse as a candidate, all of a sudden, Monty has become my number one choice, and I'm going to explain why. The Phoenix Suns, for the better part of the 2010s, were a troubled franchise, losing consistently, not really finding any gold in the draft. They consistently had very good lottery picks, but very rarely did they actually come through with a player that was going to help their team. Dragon Bender is a player that comes to mind immediately. As much as DeAndre Ayton was, a solid pick, he went first overall ahead of Luka Doncic and Trae Young. DeAndre Ayton's a good player. He's not Luka Doncic, and he's not Trae Young. But despite the losing, there were some great draft picks, like Devin Booker, who came into the team. There was the acquisition of Chris Paul that really started to spin things in the right direction. But it was also the leadership of Monty Williams to completely change the culture within this team in the space of a year. He coached in the season that ended with the NBA bubble, and the Suns in the NBA bubble went 8-0. That still wasn't enough for them to make an improbable playoff run at all. They missed out on the playoffs in that season, but the season after that, they really took off. They were the 1 seed in the NBA. They were on top of everything, playing great basketball. They got to the NBA Finals, where, yes, they did lose to Milwaukee Bucks, despite leading 2-0 in that series and losing 4 games in a row. But getting to that point seemed like it was so far away for that Phoenix Suns team, but Monty Williams did so well as a coach to change the culture within the team, change that to a winning culture. And despite maybe turning into a bit of an unlikable team in the latter stages of Monty Williams' tenure there, he turned them into winners. He turned them into players and a team that was hungry for wins. He started getting the most out of Devin Booker, helping take his game to another level. He's been in the process of developing DeAndre Ayton. We're really starting to see DeAndre Ayton become a better player under Monty Williams' tenure. Also got some great things out of Cam Johnson before he moved on. Got some great things out of Mikal Bridges before he moved on, and they brought in Kevin Durant. There's been a ton of regular season success for the Phoenix Suns over the last few seasons. Obviously, the playoff success has completely fallen off in the last 2 seasons. Again, with those blowouts in the second rounds of the playoffs, but more specifically to this season. This is a guy that a year ago was the overwhelming coach of the year and fully deserving of it. The Phoenix Suns won 60 games. He was fantastic as a head coach for that team, but how does it always spin out of control so quickly? Well, for the Phoenix Suns, a lot has changed. The Phoenix Suns brought in a new owner who was hungry for success immediately and made the snappy decision at the NBA trade deadline to go out and acquire Kevin Durant. So a new owner and a new superstar on your team, a lot changed very quickly, and there wasn't a lot of time for the team to prepare for the playoffs. Kevin Durant, once he came to the team, was suffering from injuries, and though in the brief amount of games he did play with the Phoenix Suns, they looked great, there just wasn't enough of a sample size to suggest that they're just going to be able to put all of these things together with the team going into the playoffs. Also, when you factor in the fact that the team just did not have the depth, you can't really peg a lot of the deficiencies of that team in this series to the Denver Nuggets on Williams. After all, this was a 4 seed going up against a 1 seed. People talk about how seeding doesn't matter, the regular season doesn't matter, it's all about getting to the playoffs. And sure, there's an 8 seed and a 7 seed in the conference finals this season, but Denver were the 1 seed for a reason. That was a damn good team. And the Phoenix Suns, their best 4 players, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, of course, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, that's a formidable group. But once you go beyond that, like Game 6 of the conference finals, the Phoenix Suns were calling on the 2016 Raptors bench to bail them out. Like Terrence Ross and Bismack Biyombo had key roles to that team in that Game 6. They both very much struggled in that Game 6, but that was the team that was put in front of Monty Williams to deal with in Phoenix. How was he supposed to get past that Denver team when he had to go to those guys in the elimination game? Now, obviously, they could have played better than the 30-point deficit at halftime, losing the game eventually by, I think it was 25 points. But Monty Williams has showcased to be a very adept coach in the NBA, capable of starting the process of turning franchises around. And the key thing that I love about Monty Williams as a head coach is just the culture thing. I've already spoken about it, but this Raptors team, Masai Ujiri said it best. He did not enjoy watching the Raptors this season. And I think fans started to feel as well the lack of culture, the lack of cohesion within this unit. What's been so great about the Raptors in the past 10 years of success for this team, it's been the strength in numbers. It's been about the depth with the team. But it's also been about the group here. Like that 2019 championship team, how easy was it to root for those guys? How much fun was it to root for the likes of Van Vliet, Siakam, these lower drafted players, an undrafted player in Fred Van Vliet's case, rising up, Kyle Lowry, another player who had a troubled past before going to the Toronto Raptors, and Serge Ibaka, fan favorite, Marc Gasol, a bit of a fan favorite as well. Like all these guys were so fun to root for because they brought that great culture. They brought that great culture to this team. They brought that We the North energy to this team, and they owned it, and fans, they got behind that. And that culture really has started to fade away in the last couple of years. Monty Williams is a coach that can bring that back to this team. Also, along the way, Monty Williams has showcased to be very good at developing the players within his system, getting the most out of the players within his system. And I think he can bring all of these great traits to the Toronto Raptors. So as far as our head coaching search, you've got 4 teams now in the conference finals. I don't think you're going to see any of these coaches get fired if they don't go on and win an NBA championship. Like Joe Mazzulla's not getting fired. Eric Spoelstra's not getting fired. Darvin Ham, after 1 season, getting to a conference finals, you're not going to fire him. As far as the Denver Nuggets, if they lose here, maybe Michael Malone opens up, but he is still not a candidate that takes over Monty Williams as my top spot for the Toronto Raptors. Another coach who might go is Doc Rivers. I wouldn't touch that with a 20-foot pole. So Monty Williams is the best candidate right now, and based on what we're seeing around the league, he's the best candidate that there is going to be. Maybe the Raptors want to do a little bit more homework, go around the league. Maybe Monty Williams wants to take a little bit of time to see how he's feeling after the end of his Phoenix Suns tenure. But if Monty Williams wants to get back in the saddle, find a new team to coach, then the Raptors head coaching search should well and truly be over here. And if he's open to coming here, because I think there's going to be other teams looking to make in their next head coach, if he is open to coming to the Toronto Raptors, the decision here should be easy for Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, and the rest of the Raptors front office. They are looking for development, and they are looking for a culture change. I don't know many other coaches, if any, they're going to bring the characteristics that they're looking for like Monty Williams could bring to this team. The prospect of making Monty the next head coach of the Toronto Raptors is extremely, extremely exciting and would get me hyped up for the next season. With the draft not too far away, starting to creep up a little bit. We have the NBA draft lottery tomorrow. We'll see what happened with the Raptors, but you want to have the next head coach involved in the process of finding the next player for the team, having a say in free agency, having a say in trades. So I feel like in the next couple of weeks, this whole thing should be wrapped up. And the fact that Monty Williams is available makes this a simple and easy decision if he chooses to come to the Raptors. What do you guys make of Monty Williams' head coaching candidacy with the Toronto Raptors? Do you want to see him in that role for next season? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Drop a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more Raptors content just like this. I'll see you again next time in the next video.